everybody, and welcome to Pardon Your French podcast. This is episode 4 called Sweet Nothings, because we are here with the beautiful Natalie Sweet, my darling, and obviously Vanessa is right. Hello. So professional next to me. And so we are going to be interviewing Natalie today. Natalie, my darling, explain how we met. Do you remember?
I do remember. I was that person, I think it was in possibly your first podcast, maybe. And I was the person that discovered you in your dressing gown in your garden. And I'd heard about you from Catherine, from my lovely friend Catherine, who you knew very well at that point, because I think she'd looked after, that's right, yes, the cat. So she'd said, oh, there's this wonderful, wonderful girl, and I think you'd get on really well with her. And she lives just in Sally's old house. So I was passing one day, and there you were in your dressing gown, and I stopped and we had a little chat. We had quite a long chat, actually, didn't we? It was a long time, yeah.
I think that started, 4 years ago, and it's not stopped?
No, probably not. We've seen each other most weeks for quite a long time, haven't we?
But that's true friendship for you. You never get bored of each other. So obviously I know your backstory well. So obviously you've only met Vanessa, I think, kind of through music.
No.
We met at your birthday party. Yeah, that was the first time we met. But
That's right.
yeah, but we haven't seen each other since.
No.
So what is it that actually brought you to France in the first place, and when?
We came over in 2018. In 2017, we bought the house, and then we had to live in a caravan for 8 months on Lawrence's golf course. My husband, I know you love golf.
I do, yeah, I do.
My husband was a greenkeeper.
Oh, wow.
In a lovely little golf course in Northamptonshire. And we sold our house. We just had this harebrained idea to escape Brexit and literally put the house on the market as soon as we got our affairs in order, got ourselves married because of my cancer journey, which I think we'll touch on anyway.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those crazy decisions that we just decided to go on a massive adventure together. The children had left home, both of them. They were both settled. And we found ourselves buying the fourth house we actually looked around.
Wow.
Very impulsively, I have to say. But we've never looked back, and we've never regretted that decision, actually. I think we're some of the lucky ones. I think some people have bad experiences. We've had nothing but good experiences. It's been tough at times, really tough with money and things, because we were never sort of flush, shall we say. But we've had a lovely time, and we measure our wealth in different ways now. So
yeah, absolutely. And then touching on that, you already brought it up. So you already had been diagnosed with cancer while you were in the UK, right?
That's right. Yeah, I was 44 and I was a teacher. So I was very, very stressed working. And I think I tend to blame my job and my stress levels on why I got the cancer. But I had very aggressive breast cancer. I found the lump myself. I wasn't old enough for a mammogram in the UK at the time. And I was in the doctors the next morning, like having it all checked out, went straight to the hospital, and they came back with the diagnosis. And that was in 2015, early 2015. So I had the full works thrown at me. They threw the book at me, really, if you like. They gave me surgery first to remove it. And then I had chemo, and then I had radiotherapy. So I kind of lost a whole year of my life, really, to what wasn't a very pleasant experience. But actually, I have to say that it's enriched my life in so many ways, because I'm taking opportunities that are thrown at me now, which I would never have taken before. So I lost my dad when he was 57 to cancer as well. We've got a lot of cancer in our family. And it kind of meant that I wanted to put a positive spin on it, and just, while I'm here, to make the most of every second, every minute, and have fun. And I think that's what life is all about, really.
Yeah, I guess I met you, and you'd obviously had breast cancer in the UK, and then we became friends. And then
That's right.
it was a year ago.
Almost exactly a year
Year
ago.
ago, we were at your house, weren't we?
Yeah.
And you mentioned, I don't know, I'm not sure. I've got a slight, it wasn't a lump, but
I went. Yeah. I mean, I had a couple of issues with my breast, with the same breast that I had the cancer in, and I didn't really think too much of it. I'd been to a couple of mammograms, and they'd said, no, it's everything's fine, it's all normal. And then I went to my mammogram last year because I have them yearly, and they said, oh, there's something here. We're not exactly sure what it is. And I sort of thought, oh God, here we go. It's secondaries. I immediately thought the worst. But they said, well, no, we can't really work out what it is. It doesn't look like anything that we've seen before. So they said, come back for a biopsy. So I went back for a biopsy. Thereby hangs the story. I had to buy my own biopsy kit. We'll talk about the differences. Honestly, I've never been so surprised at anything. I'm like, I have to buy the needle and everything. Oh, yeah. You have to buy that. Yeah. Be reimbursed if you can be bothered, Anyway, so I went for this biopsy, and they said, yep, you'll get the results back within 10 days. And normally here, when you go for a mammogram, you get your results literally that same day. There's no hanging around like there is in the UK. You get them back. You get your X-rays. You've got your dossier, haven't you? You've got your little file, your health file that you take everywhere with you for anything related to whatever you're going to the doctor for. And they did this biopsy, and I had to wait not 10 days, 10 weeks. Yeah, because I know it was horrendous. It was absolutely awful. I had my biopsy in March. They found it in March as well on the mammogram. I went for the biopsy in March, so there was no hanging around there. And then it went off to several specialists all over France. They just didn't know what it was. And when it came back, it wasn't breast cancer, thank goodness. But what it was cancer again, but it was lymphoma. And it was a presentation that they'd never seen before. So my oncologist said, you're a very, very special person. Natalie Sweet, a very special person. Joy of joys.
Everyone likes being called special except for by an oncologist, I think. But then, so knowing your medical history, when you did decide to move to France, was that part of your planning in the first place? I mean, you said you kind of flew by the seat of your pants coming in the first place, but like knowing what it was like going through the medical system in the UK, which is designed in a very different way to how it is in France and most other places in the world. What were your preparations like? Like, did you find a doctor here right away? Did you have your medical history transferred easily? Were there...
Actually, it wasn't as difficult as you would expect. Yeah, I did. I found a doctor, a very good doctor, actually, who just happens to specialise in gynecology. So from a breast cancer point of view, obviously there's the links with ovarian cancer, and mine was a hormone-led breast cancer. So I found a very good doctor. I'm really pleased with her. She's not too far away. She's about 20 minutes away, and she can normally get me in. I think if you've suffered from cancer before, it's a bit like in the UK, or like it used to be in the UK at least, where you can tend to get an appointment pretty quickly. And she's lovely. My medical history, I just asked my GP surgery to transfer it, and they actually transferred it to me, and then I sent it by email. It was like a big zip file. And then my hospital notes, this is worth knowing actually, my hospital notes from my cancer were actually under the hospital and not under my GP.
Right.
So that's something I would say to anybody who's had been through different procedures at hospitals in the UK. Be aware that your your hospital file may be separate from your GP file.
Right.
And you might need to do a little bit of chasing there as well to the oncology department, in my case, to get the specific notes for my treatment, the treatment that I had at the hospital.
And then did you have to have it translated?
No, I didn't actually. No.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know.
Otherwise, you have to pay per page.
My oncologist, Dr. Fitoussi, bless him, he's just the best. He's wonderful. Quirky little man, really lovely. And I've tried to speak to him in French, and he says, "Natalie, please speak in English. I can understand you then."
Yeah. So did you get a carte vitale straight away?
It took us a little while because I think there was a bit of a sort of flurry of people trying to escape Brexit.
Yeah.
So actually, I think it doesn't take quite as long now. I think you can generally tend to get it within 6 months. I think for us, it was more like a year. But I still had medical treatment outside having a carte vitale, and you can claim it back in retrospect, I believe.
Yes, there's a period of time that they'll continue to let you claim it back. Yeah, I still don't have a carte vitale.
Oh, really?
I'll have a social security number. I've applied a couple of times for a carte vitale.
French bureaucracy for you. See, they invented it.
That's exactly what we said before. It's like, it's so confusing. I'm at a point now where I need help.
Just at the bottom of an in pile somewhere, or in trays.
I know. Or they're like, oh, we've got 2 copies. Better throw them both away. It's like, don't know what that means. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it took my husband quite a long time, actually, to get his, though. Yeah.
So one of my questions was, because obviously we're close and I know Lawrence well.
Yes.
And so how did this second time around affect how to word it, like when you felt that lump or that something wasn't right?
Well, I didn't even really know, and I was sort of being a little bit blasé about it initially, because I thought, well, it can't be anything that serious. If it's, if they're taking this long over it, they can't be that bothered about it. It didn't really even cross my mind that it might be something rare. So, I mean, it's a very slow growing cancer. I had to explain to my daughter, I've had to explain to her twice now that her mum's got cancer, which isn't, well, it's the worst day of your life. You can imagine, it's not the sort of thing that you ever want to have to say. But the second time I'd sort of looked it up, and I actually got a text from Doctolib, which is an app. Yeah, and they gave me my pathology report before my GP contacted me, which was horrendous. Yeah. I mean, I was okay about it. Not everybody might have been. That's the only thing. I mean, I had this sort of wherewithal to look it up and translate it, look it up and see which type of lymphoma it was, because obviously lymphoma is akin to a blood cancer, which is pretty serious, because you never get rid of a blood cancer. You've always got cancer if you have a blood cancer. But this particular type of lymphoma is actually very slow growing. So I'm very fortunate in that I know that it probably will get me in the end. I've sort of tried to think, oh, well, okay, it could be worse, really. It has been worse in my body. I've had a much worse cancer than this one. So I think cancer is a bit of a wake-up call. It sharpens your senses a bit, and it does make you quite philosophical, I think. Well, it has done. It has me. It's made me sort of, hey, look, if that first one had got me, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So, I'd have been dead probably within a year. So this one, I could have 30, 40 years on me still.
Absolutely. Do you feel there was a difference in the way you were treated or the treatment you received in England compared to France? Do you think one was better, one was... I mean, obviously they both helped, but...
Initially, I think in the UK, I went in for my results with my mum, and she's had breast cancer, and she's also sort of nursed my dad when he was very poorly. And she knew immediately that I'd got cancer because the Macmillan nurse came in with the consultant. And she knew before I did. So it's very different in the UK because you're kind of you're swept up and you're taken through a system where you have absolutely no control over. Whereas in France, I think you have a little bit more. You've got different areas of medicine that you are involved in, and you have more control over that. You do make your own appointments with that particular person. It's not all done through the GP. It's not taken out of your control. For better or worse. I mean, sometimes it's not a great thing to have to make your own appointments for oncology and a taxi to take you there. But in the UK, you can be waiting a lot longer as a result, and you can get things missed. So there's a particular type of, I suppose, dynamic in France where you're a little bit more in control. And I think I find that quite useful.
Empowering to take control of your...
Well, yeah, I mean, because I know that with my dad, he was very, very poorly. And they just forgot him in the system for several weeks. And that several weeks was absolutely crucial to him. And I'm not saying that he would still be alive necessarily, but he may have had more of a chance. Yeah. So I think, if you're in control of it mentally, I think it kind of keeps you on top of it a little bit more, maybe. I don't know.
And then as far as a support system, I imagine you had a far larger support system in the UK than you had when you were here. Your mom's not here.
Yeah, I mean, I was working at the time. I was a teacher, so I was a primary school teacher, and I was told by my head teacher, just go. She said, just go home, get yourself better, look after yourself. And bless her, Sue, her name is Sue Cox. If you're listening, you're a wonderful person. She actually came out to visit me a couple of times at home when I was, when I was sort of recovering from surgery and going through chemo. She's just such a sweetheart. And I had a lot of help financially through the profession, I suppose. Here, no, I think you do. I think you still have the support. The support is obviously different because I haven't got my family around me this time. I've got Lawrence, but I've got people that I consider family here.
Yeah,
Stephanie, your family to me, my darling, and so I don't actually feel any worse. I miss my daughter. I'd love to be able to see my daughter more. My mum as well. I think she feels quite helpless in the UK because she can't be here, whereas she was with me every day, bless her. I mean, she looked after me so well when I was going through chemo. So,
but it's something to think about for people.
Definitely.
Even if you don't have any health concerns when you move out here, if you do end up developing.
I mean, what a difference a day makes. So, like you can be fine 1 second and the next second your whole world is turned upside down and never to be the same again.
Yeah.
Because your whole being changes. That core that is you, once you've had a life-threatening illness, it does absolutely change you. And it also changes your relationships. I know my husband has suffered, he's really suffered and struggled at times. And I think,
Did he get support then? I know Macmillan does support for spouses as well.
It was offered. It was offered. He didn't take it because he's just not that sort of person, really. But he hasn't got family here. And he works so hard. He works every moment of the day. So he hasn't, although he has got a lovely group of friends, he doesn't see them very often. So they're not just there not like us women are. We tend to sort of get much sort of deeper into conversation about personal things. I think women just tend to be a little bit more like that. We've got shared experiences, a lot of us, haven't we? So, yeah.
Do you feel like that's a broad situation? I mean, I would agree. My husband's sort of similar. He spends time with quite a lot of guys on the golf courses and stuff. And I'm always like, oh, have you guys talked about, going and buying your colorectal exam things from the pharmacy? And he's like, no, why would we talk about that? Well, we talk about that. You should be talking about that. You are each other's support system now.
Absolutely. And yet Lawrence is one of the most sort of in touch people with his emotions that I know as a male. But maybe his friends aren't.
Yeah.
So they don't sort of have that closeness, I think, that a lot of women have.
I tend to find that out here more than at least back in California. And it could just be an age thing. It could be a cultural thing. It could be. But yeah, I tend to find that the men that I meet out here who are British, there is that
stiff upper lip. Yeah, absolutely.
Button,
chest totally. Yeah, and I think that is very true. Yeah.
So speaking of, you touched briefly on buying your own biopsy kit and the colorectal thing. So like, I found it hilarious because once you hit certain age brackets here, or like every 3 years, they send out the, I get a piece of mail that says, oh, you need to go to the pharmacy and buy your tests. Well, no, for me, it's pap smear tests. Yeah, so you don't have to buy it at the pharmacy. You can have, a lot of times your doctor, if you're going for pap smear, can provide it. But you get a letter that says, like, it's time, go to the pharmacy, buy your test kit, write your name on it, have your test. Then you take it to the post office and send it in. So it's like, if you don't send it within 24 hours, you got to get another one. And the colorectal thing was hilarious because they have like a whole how to do it video, like showing you. Have you not seen it?
I mean, this is the other thing, because my father died of colon cancer, and my mother-in-law, so Lawrence's mother, died of the same.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to get. I sort of said, "Oh, I think we need the poo stick test," and she said in French, of course, and she said, "Do any of you have any family history of cancer of the colon?" And I said, well, yes, we both do. She said, well, don't worry about the poo test. I'll send you both in for a colonoscopy. And I turned to Lawrence and I said, that'll be a nice day.
Yes.
Oh, man. So actually we went for that a few months ago. That was in J Day. Yeah, I remember that. I know. So we both went. I mean, we had to go on separate days because here they put you right under for that. It's amazing, honestly.
So it was a nice day out.
It was a nice day out, but it was
Zag it in.
But it was separate. So, and at the end of it, you sort of come to after you've had your examination, and they've put you under a general anaesthetic, and you come to, and the surgeon comes over, and she's got photos to give you of your colon. I should have brought them with me. I gave them to Lawrence, and he said, "Oh, thank you very much." He said, "I'm going to have this made into some PMS."
Christmas card. Christmas card.
Yeah, and I think a bird. Yeah, and he put a record on it. It's saying, yeah.
So this feels like a perfect time to transition into food. So
in one end,
out the other. So obviously, another reason we wanted you to come on was so we could talk about your gardening prowess.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know what Steph told you. I'm really not that.
Natalie Sweet. You are Natalie's garden, for anyone wanting to move to France, is something that is to be inspired and completely motivated by, because she has the most incredible large outdoor space. There is, some equestrians and equines and some to cover. Yeah, but it's so much character. And when I think of a beautiful French garden, yours definitely comes to mind because it's so colourful.
It is what sold us the house, to be.
Yeah.
We saw the garden before we saw the house, and we just went, yes, that's it.
Yeah,
and that's what we want.
You've got so many varieties of.
Yes, we're very lucky. We are very lucky.
Because you know how to grow it. I don't have that luck because I don't know.
I think as well, though, I mean, we bought wisely. There was an elderly couple that had it before us, and they had they were very, very keen gardeners. So we've got a wonderful orchard with about 13 different varieties of fruit tree, which was already there. So, you have to buy that. You can't exactly, unless you're here for 30, 40 years, you can't build that up in that short time. So we were really lucky, I think. But yes, I have extended the vegetable patch somewhat.
I love do love it. I love it. I love it. When I think of you, you're in your garden with your little sun hat on and you're messing with your loafers. Is it loafers?
Loafers, not like loafers of shoes.
She always imagines you in that bloody bathrobe, so.
Which is always true on your lawnmower.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my lawnmower. My lawnmower.
Oh, in a dressing gown with a glass of wine. It's like my ideal day, that.
Were you an avid gardener before you came here? Did you know that you were going to want to do your own produce like that?
I was getting that way, I have to say. I mean, I didn't have the time when I was teaching, obviously, I was doing sort of 70, 80-hour weeks on a regular basis. It's absolutely shockingly crazy in the UK. But when we moved to our house that we had before we moved here, we were only there for about 3 years, I think, before we moved here. But we did a lot of gardening, and that was a big garden to us. And it was about, I don't know. It was probably about a 50th of the size. Is size in an elephant. Yeah, it was tiny, really, in comparison now. But we did a lot with it, and I did grow my own food as much as I could in the UK. Just not enough, really, not enough. And I really wanted to sort of produce as much as I possibly could to be not self-sufficient, because that's very hard to do. You can't ever work if you do that. I think that is your life. But we certainly, we grow enough tomatoes to keep us going all year. So we just sort of freeze them. Peppers are the same, and the Mediterranean vegetables, and we do a lot of squash, sort of butternut squash. And I do, yes, Steph, you're right, I do grow loofahs. I do. Because I just think that, they're great for actually even just for washing up, like, so that you don't buy a load of
plastic sponge.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm avid sort of planet, what do you call it?
You're like an eco
warrior.
Eco warrior.
I just think, we're only here for as long as the planet holds up, aren't we? So,
But then did you find a massive difference in the growability of things that you were comfortable growing in the UK to here?
It changed, yeah. Absolutely.
Humongous.
There are certain things, some of it's similar, but actually what we found is there's almost like 2 growing seasons. You can grow from sort of February to October, November. That's like your summer season often. So you start them off earlier. You have to watch out for the frosts in May, though.
4th year in a row, I fell short to that frost. And I've spent thousands of flowers and vegetables, and they all went in one night.
Congelé.
Assholes.
Yeah, and it's like anywhere, everybody has their different ways of gardening. I tend to mulch a lot here, because obviously you have to be very careful with rainfall. So I water really early every morning, like 6 o'clock, and then I come to yours at 6 a.m. See you with your watering cap in the dressing room, and then again in the evening if it's really, really hot.
Yeah.
But everything is mulched as well. Like you cover it all up with either grass clippings or, well, we've got a lot of leaves in the garden with our orchards, so we tend to put that on. Wood chip is another one. So it's slightly different, but I don't really tend to grow much in the winter. I'm a bit of a fair weather gardener.
You look good doing it. What's your favourite plant to grow?
Oh, gosh, that's a hard question.
Loofahs.
I'll give him choice: a loofah, a pepper, or a tomato. Tomato.
Tomato is my favorite, mainly because I used to eat the most. But do you struggle with blight?
Twice.
Yeah.
Every year my quince tree gets blight, and so every year, pretty much, I use the Bordelaise mix, the Bordeaux mix, which we make up ourselves out of lime and copper sulfate, and then mix that with water, and I spray it. I just spray it. Yeah, I do the whole thing that the French do. Yeah, absolutely. But we make it up ourselves. Yeah, I mean, we get by. Yeah. We get by. We get bad years of some. Sometimes it's root vegetables that suffer. Sometimes it's soft fruit. You just go with it.
Most importantly, though, living in the Charente, the snail, the escargot, right? That's what they're famous for, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what they call us, don't they?
Yeah, the Charente are.
But they're not. But they're not. But yeah, they're the snails of France.
Yeah.
Because of the pace of life here.
Yes, not because there's so many of them.
You call them escargot here, don't you?
No.
Cagrille.
That's the Charente word for it.
You did.
Do you know how to spell that?
No.
A cagrille. That's a good one. That is very good to know. But yeah, so the snails are so famous. That's the symbol of the Charente. But also, they are a horrific thing. Do you do something? Do you go snail picking? And if they like munching on something, they'll come back, right? So I've never been over like environmental
the thing snail
every night. For the same one there's like hundreds.
Yes, tennis racket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also do beer traps. Do you do anything like that for the snails?
I've tried beer traps. For me, weren't very successful. I am a picker, I have to say, but also it's handy to have a duck and have your duck pond next to your veg patch, and then you can just toss them over to the ducks, and they'll be very grateful for them.
And you get duck eggs.
Oh,
gorgeous duck eggs.
You two are blowing my mind. Good for baking. It's like you went into a different realm. I don't know where you went. We've got a question about any surprise lessons from the garden that helped you in your life. Do you find it a place to quiet, meditate, go with nature, take your time? You can't rush things. And actually, I think, we all spend so much time thinking, oh, God, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to, actually, rarely do you really have to do something within a super fast time frame. I think just take your time a little bit more, breathe and enjoy it. And I do love sort of sitting and just watching and listening. And at the moment, the bird song is incredible, isn't it? It's just beautiful. The cuckoo's almost getting boring, it's constant. And yet we wait for that, don't we? We just wait for that. And we've got, we sat there 2 weeks ago and watched the swallows arrive in the garden, and they come back every year, and hoopos as well in the garden. There's just these wonderful sort of quite exotic sounding animals. But there is nothing better than sitting like outside on an evening,
glass of rosé
in a t-shirt,
yes,
with a glass of rosé, listening to like the birds. And obviously I've got owls, so they're going off their rocker and things, and just watching like Carter play on his swing, being a traditional child, not on a game. You know what I mean? Outside on that swing. That's gorgeous. I love it. That is the dream. Even if you're not a gardener and got green fingers like me, to just sit in it is just freedom. Because I have, after doing all these podcasts and talking to lots of different people, I think everybody deep down is looking for freedom, not wealth, not like big housing, anything like that. Like your health and your freedom.
Peace, isn't it? Peace.
Inner peace. Yeah. Yeah, your soul to be on fire. And I think your soul comes alight when you are in your garden. Things have started to move again since lockdown, I think, haven't they? And I think, there are things to do, but the best thing to do is just to enjoy what you've got, and just sit in the garden and, throw a stick for your dog, or cuddle the donkey.
if you like and subscribe, you can follow us and enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the adventure that we're crazily on, aren't we? And I love the fact that Natalie just agreed to come on. No questions asked. I was like, great.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's been really good. Sharing your story.
Yes, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It was very enlightening. It brought to light some difficult situations that you went through that other people, I'm sure, are facing, and maybe inspired some people to even if they are going through some medical journeys, that they could have that adventure abroad as well.
Of course.
Yeah. But thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll see you all next time. Lots of love.